Hello, this is Dr. Erin, your high performance business coach and success psychologist. And we're going to talk about productivity again. This is our third module, our third week of talking about how do high performers get so much done? It's a question that I have literally been asked my whole life because I think I came out of the womb a high performer, but it is a question I've been asked. And somehow, seemingly, I make it appear like I have more hours in the day than anybody, and how can I possibly get stuff done? And I'm going to share with you some awesome tools to put in your toolkit so that you can experience that in your life. So I want to remind us what productivity is. Remember, productivity is simply a measure of how well you are leading your dream. Now, we are not interested in working you to the bone. We are not interested in you having no free time. We are not interested in you being a human doing, and not being a human being. I'm not interested in that stuff. And I hear that from people who are unaware or unsure or a little bit scared of high performance, and could they really be a high performer? And sometimes I'll hear like, I don't know if I could be a high performer. Like, I don't know if I can work that hard. Here's the thing. Remember, when you are a high performer, it means you are happy, joyous, and free. It means you have confidence. It means you have balance in all areas of your life. It means you're getting more done in less amount of time. It means you're fully alive. It means you're feeling your day. It means you're fully engaged with the people who are in your life, in your family, in your friendships, in your work. And it means that you are engaged in whatever it is that you're doing. And really feeling present really is the opposite of feeling distracted. Feeling engaged is the opposite of feeling overwhelmed. Feeling engaged and joyful is the opposite of feeling burned out. Feeling engaged is the opposite of feeling confused and, spread too thin. And so I always know that someone doesn't really know me if they come up to me and say, oh my gosh, you must be so busy. I don't relate to that because I'm here to teach people how to not feel busy and how to not be burdened by that feeling of spinning so many plates that they all fall down at some point. My goal is to help you have long-term success over a long period of time, which is what high performance is. And so there's no way to have longevity to your productivity if you are going to crash and burn. Okay, so let's get started. I want to debunk a myth. I've got a piece of paper to show you here. I want you to pull out a piece of paper, and if you don't have one, I want you to pause this video and go and get one. And then when you get one, come on back. All right, welcome back. If you needed to pause the video, again, if you don't have a piece of paper, go and get one and get a pen. And I want you to put 2 lines. So make your paper into these 3 sections. And when I say go, I want you to time yourself on the first thing I ask you to do. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to write the words, multitasking is a lie, as fast as you possibly can when I say go. And when I say go, I'm going to start timing, and I want you to write down, when you write that sentence one time, I want you to write down in the corner here how many seconds it took you to write. Multitasking is a lie. So you're going to write it down one time. Multitasking is a lie. When I say start, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, in my experience, most people get done by the time I counted to 20. So if you didn't get done by 20, do 20 plus or something. But you wrote down multitasking is a lie, okay? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to write, when I say go, I want you to write 1 through 17 as fast as you possibly can. So in this section, you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 17 as fast as you possibly can when I say go. And remember to keep track of how many seconds it takes you to do that, okay? So ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, you should be done by that. Done doing that. Now this last one, don't start yet. I want you to write, multitasking is a lie. But for each letter, I want you to come down here and do the corresponding number. So M, 1, U, 2, L, 3, T, 4. So you see what I'm doing there? So I want you to do that one time. I want you to write multitasking is a lie with its corresponding number as fast as you possibly can, and keep track of me counting and how many seconds it takes you. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, you want me to stop? 22, 23, you want me to shut up? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'll stop right there. What I've found is it normally takes people 40 or a little bit less or a little bit more. So here's what I want you to recognize. That really was an exercise in what multitasking does to our brain, to our physiology, to our emotions. So I want you to recognize the time difference that it took you to write each one by itself versus writing them together. So usually it takes people about twice as long to write it together. So that bottom exercise that you did, I bet it took much more time, right? I want you to look at the accuracy of that bottom exercise versus the accuracy. Some people are like, I didn't even spell it right. I didn't even count right. I left out a number. I didn't even get to the right number. And then I want you to really think about where was your stress level during each exercise. My hunch is that last exercise, you wanted me to stop talking because it was stressful and you were stressed and it took a lot more mental energy and focus. This is an illustration to you of the taxing amount of effort and thought and cognitive strength that it requires to multitask. And you know, I think in our culture, at some point we started glorifying that we can do more than one thing all at once. And I believe there is a time and a space for that. But I also want you to understand that when you want to be insanely productive and get more time back in your day to do the things that you enjoy and love and to relax and to be with the people that you love, which I know that's what you want, then we have to really look at, are we multitasking? And we need to figure out how to decrease that. And we need to figure out how to decrease the distractions coming our way. So remember, productivity is a measure of how you're leading your dream. And I want you to really come from this place of feeling like you're leading your day. Okay, so Brendan Burchard, my mentor, he often says, you know, ambition without a calendar sucks. I'll say that again. Ambition without a calendar sucks. Or you might say a plan without a calendar stinks. So I want you to really think about, if I pulled out your calendar, would it be very, very evident and clear to me the dream that you were leading? Would it be evident to me the dream that you were pursuing? It should be. That's how crystal clear it should be. I should be able to look at your calendar and know exactly what those top 1 to 3 projects and priorities are, because you're spending your time doing those activities, okay? So I want you to think of distractions. We live in a world of many, many, many distractions. And so technology, right, is this awesome thing that's come into our life, and it's made so many things easier. It's helped us connect with people. It's helped us grow a business in a way that we never could. But it also is providing us an opportunity to get distracted all day long. And here's the thing. You don't even need other people to distract you. You're distracting yourself all day long. If you are like anyone that I'm meeting, I mean, if you are a human being in this day and time, in this era, it is really easy to distract ourselves. So we really have to think about, in terms of leadership, first we have to lead ourselves, okay? And I want to say something else about just the discipline of managing your time. Again, this is not to be like rain on your parade and have you, follow this letter to the law kind of strict regimen and have no fun. Being productive and managing your distractions is in the service of you having freedom. And so there's an age-old philosophy, I'm not the first one to make it up, although I would love to write a book about it someday, about the freedom of discipline. And you've experienced this maybe in your life without even recognizing it, but if you've ever, really been disciplined about, let's say, what you eat, all of a sudden there's some freedom that comes from feeling like you have vitality, from losing the weight that you wanted to lose. There's a freedom that comes in having self-control and discipline, right? There's a freedom that comes when we discipline our children, right? There's a freedom that comes in them developing into their best self. So discipline actually is in service of and functions to create more joy, ease, freedom, flow in your life, right? There's not much freedom if you are distracted all day long, if you are tossed by the winds of other people's agendas, and you get to the end of every single day and you're like, I don't even know what I got accomplished. That's not a free life. It's an undisciplined life, and it also doesn't involve a lot of freedom. So I want you to really lean into this idea and practice this idea of, I'm going to try this on in my life. I'm going to try this on of really being disciplined and seeing how free I actually feel by virtue of having more discipline. So I want you to fall in love with being disciplined. Being disciplined is awesome. It's fun. It lightens the load. It doesn't box you in, it lightens the load. Okay, I want to give you an example. Okay, this is my little drawing. If this is a typical week, and this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we time block our day, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just say for the sake of fun, that's when we're going to be working. If we're looking at, in a typical day, we are maybe only being, productive 2 time slots here. And maybe over here, we're being productive, and we're being a little productive over here. Maybe Thursday we did real good. We had 3 productive time slots. We got some on Monday. We got some on Friday. These are stars, by the way. Saturday and Sunday, not much. The rest of the time, though, if we are feeling distracted, actually, let me cross these out. If we are feeling distracted, or we let ourselves kind of go by the schedule of other people, maybe we go off into Facebook land and we, get to browsing and get a little sucked in, right? And, someone calls and wants us to do something, or someone emails us and wants us to, work on some project that's important to them. You get the point. All of those little distractions add up into a highly distracted life. And Brendon Burchard also says, I love this quote, do not let randomness steal from your greatness. Do not let randomness steal from your greatness, okay? So we really want to take a look at how we're managing our day. So let me share my screen with you, and I want to share with you this worksheet that I'm going to walk you through, and I want you to take some time and really rate yourself and how true are these statements for you, okay? So you're going to walk yourself through those, and you're going to see if you get a score of 5 or more on any of these, it's a sign to you like, alert, alert. That is an area that I really want you to look at, and so take some time in doing that. But down here, I want to start talking about some success rituals. So success really is, as Aristotle says, a measure of your daily habits. And the law of the slight edge says that seemingly insignificant small little decisions, when made enough times over a long enough period of time, either add up to massive success or massive failure. So when we looked at our scheduler, you can imagine if every week of our life was like that, and then every month added up to that, and every year added up to that, and every decade added up to that, you can see that a life of intention would look very different than a life of distraction. You would see that a life of intention would look very different than a life of distraction. And so successful people and high performers, right? They really they have their dream in the front of their mind. And we've talked about the importance of that. But then what they do is they create some goals, those 1 to 3 projects or priorities that are important to carry forward their dream. And then on the flip side, on the back side of the goals are supported by rituals. So human beings do so great with rituals. Another word for ritual is a habit. So successful people have success habits. And Brendon Burchard's book, Habits of Highly Successful People, High Performance Habits, How Extraordinary People Became That Way, is his research of the last 20 years and hundreds of high performers. And he whittled it down and he studied them and found that there are some habits that they all do. They have habits in common. So I want you to really think about your success rituals or your habits. And I want you to rate yourself. How often am I practicing these following success rituals? So I'm going to plug through some of these and then end with kind of some closing thoughts on multitasking and how that's a little different than being a multi-passionate entrepreneur. And it's a little different than, we'll talk about, can you do more than one thing well? Okay, so some success rituals that will help increase your productivity and decrease multitasking is starting your morning with a meeting with yourself. We've talked about that in previous videos, but really, do you start your day thinking about your day versus reacting to everyone else's day or everyone else's thoughts or everyone else's ideas? Okay, so you want to start with yourself. And then do you time block each day? So a time block is carving out, I would recommend 50 to 55 minutes is what science says is the sweet spot for sitting down and being productive. And these are the 2 things that go into your time blocks. Anything that moves your projects and priorities forward, so the things that are moving your dream forward, so your work goes in a time block, or your learning, training, studying, that whatever you're doing for yourself to grow your own skill set and core competencies, okay? So those things go in your time blocks. And start out with, everyone has time for one time block a day. Maybe you're working 9 to 5 and you're building your dream on the side. You have time to carve out one time block a day. If you carve out one time block a day, that's 7 time blocks a week. That's 30 hours a month building your dream. And again, remember, all that's going to add up into something pretty awesome, or not add up if you don't realize that a little bit every day can go a long way. Okay, so in your time blocking, that's when you are like, you go in like a ninja, right? We're going to SWAT team our hours, and we are not going to get distracted. We are going to have blinders on. We are going to turn off our phones. We are not going to let people interrupt us to the best of our ability. I just put a sign on my door. I had someone make a sign so that I'm making sure that I'm really managing my time blocks, because no one's going to manage my boundaries. I have to set my boundaries, and so do you. Okay, so we are just going to be fully present and engaged for 50 to 55 minutes. That's what a time block is, okay? Another thing you can do as a success ritual is, are you visualizing your dream and your dream life every morning? So remember, we don't want you going to work without your dream on your mind. I don't want you being productive without your dream in the forefront of your mind, because otherwise your motivation will go, okay? It's like your forgetter is going to start working. That's what motivation is. You've just forgotten your dream. That's all that is. Okay, the next, most successful people spend their first 2 hours at least of each day being proactive rather than reactive. What I mean by that is they're working on their own dream. They're not getting up and checking their emails, because emails are simply other people's agenda for your life. Texts, emails, social media, other people's agenda for your life. It's not your own. And that's when you get into reactivity. And we do not want to start our day that way. We want to train our brains and condition our dream. Train our brains and condition ourselves to lead our dream, okay? Another little tip I can give you is asking people to give you their real deadline when they have a request of you. So say a request comes across my way, Dr. Erin, can you write a testimonial for me? Okay, great. When do you need it? Well, their response when they need it is actually just their first preference, and often is not their actual deadline. So I might lovingly email back and say, I would love to consider this. I have lots of other requests coming my way. When is the fast and hard, like if you don't get this, it's going to be a problem deadline? What's the real deadline for this? And then I will decide whether or not I can say yes to this request. Okay, it works like a charm. I'm so excited for you guys to try that one. Okay, this one's crazy. Brendan Burchard taught me this one as well. And he says, say no first, and then try to persuade yourself to say yes. And if you can persuade yourself to say yes, then it's a really good decision for yourself. Now, this may not mean saying no to everybody, right? It may mean pausing. I call it the power of the pause. So when someone asks you something, or do you want to be on this committee, or do you want to help with this? You have the right to say, let me take some time and consider it. Would it be all right with you if I got back to you by such and such a date? And they will say yes or no, right? Ask yourself, if I were to say, just come from a place of no, could I persuade myself that this was a really good yes? And see what your brain comes up with. And if you can, that's something to really look at. Okay? Another thing, before you agree to something, do you run it by your dream first? I love this. So this is just this idea of, is this activity, this thing that I'm saying yes or no to, does this move my dream forward? Does this move me forward so that I can better lead my dream? Okay? Do you have specific times of day where you check your email, texts, voicemails, and social media? If not, I highly recommend you time block those and you make a boundary in your head that that is the only time I'm doing that, because my friends, we can get distracted and we can lose hours. And guess what? The average American watches 4 hours of TV a day. I can't even imagine how much they're on social media. And we should find some statistics about that. But let's imagine it's 4 hours a day between all of them at all times combined. Guess what? Over a lifetime, that's 13 years of your life gone. So again, a little bit every day adds up. And it can add up in a great way, and it can add up in a not so great way. Okay, do you have specific books and trainings or mentors that you are learning from, and a plan for yourself? So here's the problem with so much clickbait out there these days, and so much so much available at our fingertips, is we can get so distracted, and then we can get so overwhelmed. And I suggest following a plan for yourself of reading a book that you choose, and then choosing your next book. Otherwise, you're going to be asking everyone, and you can ask them, what book are you reading? What would you recommend? But then stay in your zone and stay in that lane, and do not let yourself get distracted. So I map out each year the 12 books I'm going to read, and it takes about 15 minutes a day to read a book every month. So if you want to supercharge that, make that, double that, but at least 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to get through a book a month. And I'm going to put blinders on, and when my next, friend posts the next coolest book, what can happen, right? Squirrel. You're like, oh my God, that looks awesome. And you never really get through the learning that you knew would best lead your dream. So it's not helpful if I'm reading everything about everything. It's helpful if I'm reading about the core competencies that I need at this certain point in my life and in my business to move my dream forward based on my 1 to 3 projects and priorities. So see how those are always like our compass, okay? The last one, when you're engaging in an activity, this is from Brendan, I love this, asking yourself, is this activity a leadership activity? Is this helping me be a better leader? Or am I just being a minion? And you know what I mean by that. It's also like, am I being a lemming? Am I being a follower? Am I just being a worker bee? Am I being a minion? Could a minion do that job? That's probably not something that you should be doing then, right? Is this activity that you're spending your precious time on leading your dream, leading who you want to be, leading your family, leading you in the roles that you want to own? Maybe that role is motherhood. Maybe you need to own your role of motherhood more, right? So are these activities you're doing leading you in that role? Are you engaging with your children in a meaningful way? It's just an example, right? Or are you browsing, swipe, browsing all day long? Are you being a minion? Okay? So your dreams and your life and your ideal self is just waiting desperately for you to rise up and to lead them in a meaningful way. And so the last thing I want to say is, multitasking is very different than this idea of doing multiple things at one time. And I do believe you can do multiple things at one time if they are in congruence with leading your dream. So if my business, for example, my coaching business is my main goal, and maybe I have 3 projects and priorities for the next year. Maybe one is speaking, maybe one is growing online, and maybe one is creating a course. Now, those are 3 different things, but they're all under the main thing of leading my business in a strategic way. And so you do not have to tell yourself, I can only work on one thing at a time. There's lots of business owners out there that have multiple streams of income, but usually what works the best is those multiple streams of income, or their multiple profit centers, they're called. They're actually all in the service of one big goal and one big dream and one big priority and project, okay? So there's like a coherence to them. So I do want to say that I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and I know a lot of you are, and I think that's okay, and that's awesome. And I do believe you can do lots of things well. So I can be a parent, I can take care of my health, I can be a great friend, I can have a great business, I can, tend to my spirituality, I can tend to my volunteer time, right? That's called a balanced life. And so you can do more than one thing at a time. But when we're talking about time blocking, that's what we're talking about, where multitasking is a lie. So I hope that makes sense. Please, as your challenge to yourself, as your call to action, choose those 3 success rituals that you really want to dial in just for the next 10 days, just to really try them on, experiment with them, see how they feel. Give them 10 days. Give them 3 rituals and see how it feels. See what changes. in your level of productivity and ease and the level that you can rest and have joy. So remember, productivity is a measure of how well you're leading your dream. It's time to lead your dreams, my friends. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you receive just massive, massive value. See you next time.